Ivana Stradner's here, Russia Program Research Fellow at the Foundation for Defense of Democracies. Welcome to you both. Fred, we'll start with you. Will yesterday's announcement finally convince Vladimir Putin to come to the negotiation table and end the war in Ukraine?
Well, Trump is certainly upping the ante, and he showed that he is not going to be rolled by Putin. He's a flexible and pragmatic president who will change his policy when the circumstances change. He's also being loyal to his MAGA base by saying that Europe has to take primary responsibility for dealing with the crisis in Ukraine. And this is going to allow Trump to enlist states that buy oil and gas from Russia to put pressure on Putin. I think it's a good way to up the ante, and let's hope Putin listens.
Let's go, if we can't control, to B04 and B05. Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky posted on X about this very topic. He says, "I spoke with President Trump. It was a very good conversation. Thank you for their willingness to support Ukraine and to continue working together to stop the killings and establish a lasting and just peace. We discussed the necessary means and solutions with the president to provide better protection for people from Russian attacks and to strengthen our positions. We are ready to work as productively as possible to achieve peace." Obviously, Ivana, there's some frustration here. You can kind of see that with the President Trump, and Russian President Vladimir Putin. He talks to him on the phone. He seems to have a sense that Putin is listening to him, or maybe they're coming to common grounds in terms of wanting to end the conflict. And then missiles are fired, and then they have a phone call, and it seems over and over it happens. Now the president is stepping this up. Talk to us about that and imposing these sanctuary sanctions potentially to get a peace deal done.
So you're right. President Trump tried to talk nicely to Moscow, but Putin actually only understands the language of power. And of course, President Trump stated that he is not happy with Russia, and for a very good reason, because Putin does not want to negotiate in good faith. And now President Trump is right to give Putin a taste of his own medicine by sending Ukraine Patriot missiles, but also his decision to impose secondary tariffs on any sanctions on any country doing business with Russia is also a step in the right direction, because there are many countries, whether in the Middle East or Central Asia, that are actually enabling Putin's actions. And one other thing that I want to emphasize, Putin does not want to negotiate in good faith and finally Putin show his true colors. He wants only to subjugate Ukraine and, make no mistake, to continue with his awful war also outside of Ukraine. And I think one of the important things that I want to emphasize is that the Kremlin thinks very differently from Washington. It's a very different culture. And there is actually an old Russian joke that illustrates Putin's mindset. So there is a peasant, lives between two houses that each have a cow. And he complains to God that he doesn't have his own. So when God offers to provide him with one, the peasant replied, "No, I'd prefer that you just kill my neighbor's cows." And that's exactly how Putin thinks. That's exactly what Putin wants, how he perceives international politics through lose-lose game.
It's hard to be rational with someone through that mindset. The 50-day timeline is what was presented yesterday there. And of course, the news that the U.S.-made weapons would then be distributed to NATO and then passed on to Ukraine. So that was another headline from yesterday's meeting. We brought it to our viewers live on National Report. We have to leave it there. Fred Fleitz, Ivana Stradner, thanks for coming on this morning.